Hey guys, welcome back to the Pulling Curls podcast. Today on episode 125, we are talking about organizing for a baby, which I am 100% here for because it is not going to get easier when the baby is out. So let's untangle it. Hi, I'm Hillary Erickson, the curly head behind the Pulling Curls podcast, where we untangle pregnancy, parenting, home, and even travel. We know there's no right answer for every family, but hopefully we can spark some ideas that will work for yours. Life's tangled, just like my hair. Okay, guys, before we get started, leave a review and subscribe while you're there. It totally helps you hear every single episode so you're not missing one in case you don't see me on social media. Subscribe and leave a review. Reviews totally help. Please, 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 please. Leave a review. Okay, today's guest is the mama behind the Mama's List and all of its social media channels. She aims to prepare moms for what postpartum is really going to look like. She actually has a course coming out called Conquering Postpartum, which I think is awesome. It's all about just getting prepared for what life's going to look like after you have a baby. I want to introduce today's guest, Carly Sachs. Do you ever just feel like it's unfair that some people can have company over at a moment's notice? Their house is just super easy to clean up and they can relax on the couch with Netflix while you feel like you always have things to do around your house. That can totally be you. The Organized Home is all new in 2021. We're talking about decluttering, zones, organization systems that actually work. We've got assignments and challenges. I hope you'll join us. You can use coupon code UNTANGLED. Look for the Organized Home link in the show notes. Carly, welcome to the Pulling Curls podcast.
Thanks so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, I think this is such a great topic because I loved organizing before I had a baby. I think nesting is true and real, right?
Absolutely. And it just, once it hits, it kicks in and you're like in a frenzy. So I think it's important to kind of focus that effort as well.
Yes. Organize the right things instead of the 600 times you fold their onesies.
Yes, absolutely.
But also there's so much that organizing can do for us, like make life easier after the baby comes, which is so important. I think I always forget that with every baby about how little I need to do after the baby comes.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I try to remind moms to be that you really need to focus on life after as well. So many people focus on the prep and the getting there and the birth and all of that, which is so important, but your life totally changes every single time you add a new baby, not just the first baby. It could be baby 2, 3, whatever, things really do change. So getting your life set up and organized for that transition is so, so important.
Yeah. I remember thinking we needed new blinds or something in the nursery. And I was like, oh, we'll just get that later. And then after I had the baby, I was like, why did I think that? I wasn't going to do anything later.
Yep. That's totally true.
Okay. Before we get started, we wanted to just quickly discuss FMLA paperwork, because if you're pregnant and you have a job that offers you benefits like FMLA, then it's so important to get started wherever you are at. Right?
Yes. So I think one of the things, depending on your HR department, of course, the forms are going to be slightly different for your company, but the process is generally the same, and that you would need to get your FMLA forms, request your absence, etc., with your HR system or whomever is, in charge of your absence management. At my company, we did that 30 to 60 days. It had to be filed 30 to 60 days before the birth. That may change depending on the company.
So that's your due date. That's what you're aiming for, right? Due date. Okay.
Yeah, before your due date. And so, they say the 30 days before because they want to make sure that the baby doesn't come earlier and that you haven't gotten your paperwork, etc. So it's before the due date. And then depending on what your company's policy are, there'll be a few different forms you can fill out. And some you can actually even fill out before the baby arrives. So there's usually an FMLA form for self. Sometimes there's an FMLA bonding for baby. You'll get an insurance paperwork to add the baby to your insurance. And sometimes you'll even have a parental leave document if that's applicable to your company or your organization, and even short-term disability. So if you're going to be paid through short-term disability, you can start that paperwork before. So I think that's super important to just get all of that on the docket, reach out to your HR department or whomever would be, processing that paperwork. So you're not scrambling thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going into labor. I really need to figure out how to get all this, the logistics of being out on leave and being paid and having my job held.
Yes. I've seen women filling out. Well, a lot of them bring it to the hospital because I guess the doctor has to sign something saying they had the baby. So that's always fun. And FYI, he signs that when you're up in postpartum. They're always like right after birth. They're like, I have a paper for you to sign. And the doctor's like, just enjoy the baby. I have to come tomorrow. We will see each other. I will sign it then. So yeah.
Which is crazy. I mean, I understand why we need to have paperwork, but like the fact that we're worried about, bringing the paper to the hospital. But yeah, I mean, it is part of the process. So making sure that you have the paperwork ready and, stored in the right place so that you don't forget it is really important.
Yeah, I would definitely make a folder or whatever your system is that is just for that paperwork. And you may also have to put a bug in dad's ear also, right?
Absolutely. And for me, for the baby's paperwork. So again, a lot of these can't be filled out before the baby arrives. So the pediatrician, if you have one for the baby, will have to fill it out after the baby's born. I just stuck it in my diaper bag so that I didn't forget it. Once you have that packed diaper bag, if that's ready to go by the door, you've already got that covered and you're not running out the door to your, 2-day appointment thinking, oh my gosh, did I grab the paper? Because that's probably one of the last things on your mind.
Oh, that's super smart. Plus, if then, like, I always brought my diaper bag to the hospital. If it was there, the pediatrician could sign it at the hospital if you were like on top of it, I guess.
Right. Absolutely. That could even happen then as well.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk more about organizing your house. Let's talk about just a few things that people can do to really get prepared at home.
Awesome. So one of the things that I think, this isn't exactly a physical space delivery, but it's more about organizing your house and streamlining your household systems. I think getting your automated delivery set up and totally ready for the baby is super important. So for us, that was like setting up all of our grocery ordering and recurring items. So like just toilet paper, paper goods, anything that, was coming in an ongoing basis, really getting those places stocked, like in your house. So we have extra toilet paper, we have extra all of the paper goods, et cetera, already like in a stockpile, like in a pantry, having that stocked and then getting those online or anything that you have recurring set up was super important because again, like anything you think is going to happen after the baby, like that could go out the window, just depending on your delivery, depending on how you're feeling. And then obviously just with that huge change in your life, waiting for later isn't usually the best option. So for us, getting the space set up and kind of stocked was really helpful.
Oh, that's such a good idea. Now, when I had a baby, that wasn't like even an option, I'm sad to say. But I definitely did a Costco run. So even if you're not planning on like getting the recurring purchases, although I totally would, especially diapers and wipes. Oh my gosh, that would have been so handy. At least go to the store and do a stock up of however you normally do it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so, yeah, whether or not you do online, I mean, I think now, especially now, probably with, the way things have changed and shifted online, there probably are more people getting that stock up and doing online delivery. But even if you're not, whatever you have going, just make sure you have that space in your house stocked as much as you can. I know depending on space that can be challenging, but especially having diapers and wipes and any space that you have for things to stock up, getting that ready, doing Costco run or, setting up an auto delivery if that's, how you do things.
Yeah. I just had a student in my class say, everybody told us to only get 1 pack of newborn diapers, but we needed like 7 packs. And I was like, oh, that stinks. Do you have a recommendation about like what I always said, 2 packs of newborn and then ones? What do you think?
So I was in the same situation with baby number 1. We used newborn for like 2 months. And so I didn't have enough. And I don't think you should prepare for that. I agree. I think you probably need at least 2 packs of newborns because if not, you can gift them. It's not too much. It's always something that you can gift, and depending on how I wouldn't say how you're measuring because I think that those are wildly off depending on, what you would actually expect. I was, supposed to have a 7-pound baby and had a 5-pound baby. So that didn't exactly translate for me, but at least 2 packs, maybe 3, and thinking you can regift and then get more as needed. But then definitely ones. You're not going to run out of size ones. Like it is shocking the number of diapers that you are going to need. So
yeah, because those newborns come in like a pack of 40, which is like 2 days. I felt like.
Yep. Yeah. It's who would have thought that you could go through a pack of diapers, or 15 diapers in one day, but it's totally possible and will happen.
Yeah. Ugh. Okay, what else should we be preparing?
So I love the idea of setting up a nursing station and a diaper changing station. So these are definitely not things you would have had in your house if you hadn't had a baby before, but getting like a space set up, I think is really helpful and will like ease coming home. So you'll be spending a lot of time changing diapers and nursing, and you won't always be in the same spot, and you hopefully won't just be stuck in the baby's nursery all the time. So having a diaper changing station on each floor of your house, which is literally can just be a small caddy with some diapers, wipes, diaper cream, and like a mat, having that in a separate location can be a huge help, especially, if you're a C-section mom and you aren't really moving around a lot, you don't want to be changing levels. Getting that set up before the baby comes is really helpful. And then the same thing for nursing. Like if you're planning to breastfeed, that's going to happen everywhere. It's going to happen for a lot of times in a lot of different locations. And so having, water, a couple extra breast pads, a snack available is really helpful as well.
Yeah. I had always seen other people change their baby on the floor, but I had a 4th degree episiotomy. Like there was no getting on the floor for me. So I loved my changing table. I feel like that is an area of dispute on the internet. Some people hate them and some people, but I love mine. Judge me.
No, we use the top of a dresser. We still use it at 18 months. And so, yeah, I think we have that and we love it upstairs. I did get a mat. And when my baby was a newborn, I had a pack and play set up downstairs so that I wasn't running up and down the stairs all the time. But yeah, I definitely agree that elevation is key. And I don't change the baby on the bed without a mat.
Oh no.
I know some people do it, but that's a risk. That is a risk waiting to happen.
I hate laundry so much. Yeah, I would in case it's your first rodeo, the baby could poop like everywhere, all over your comforter. And you know how hard it is to wash your comforter, people. So I even had, like, I found them at Goodwill, old mats from like old other diaper bags that people just sent to Goodwill. And I had one in my room, one in the living room, one, everywhere. So they're super handy.
Yeah, the mat is clutch, especially in those early days. Like you don't even know what's coming out. So yeah, making sure there's a mat or something under there is pretty critical for managing laundry prep.
Yeah. Okay. What else should we be organizing?
I would also organize all of anything that you can get from a cleaning standpoint and set up in advance. Cleaning and I consider feeding ourselves like part of like my household organizational schedule. So cleaning and meal prep. If you have someone who wants to gift you this would be great. But setting up like either laundry or cleaning services for that first month postpartum is super, super helpful. And then like obviously doing any deep cleaning or any, prep that you want to of your home before is really important. So like you mentioned earlier, you're not going to get to it later. Cleaning the inside of your windows, like that is not going to happen. Those window sills, like that first month postpartum. So doing any deep cleaning of your house and then setting up any recurring help that you can. For us, it's a great splurge. Or if anyone wants to gift you that's awesome from your mom or mother-in-law. So we, tried to get the house as clean as possible. And then we did prep freezer meals. I am not a freezer meal prepper, but having freezer meals available was really helpful, especially during the first 6 weeks when, sleep schedules are just crazy. Just doing a batch day of cooking, even if you're like me and aren't really into freezer meals and freezer meal prep, it's just very helpful to have an emergency meal on hand. And then if anybody offers to set up a meal train for you, that is lovely and wonderful. And to get that set up as early for those early days as well.
Yes, so much. Actually, when people say they're in early labor, I'm like, clean. Like that's such a good way to get something done and to move your body, like get in there and do your tub. Because you're going to be on hands and knees. You're opening up your hips, like you're shifting your hips in different ways. You're probably grunting. Like
that's a great idea. I never thought of that.
Because it'll get done again when they're teenagers.
Right. It's certainly not happening that first month or two. Like, you might as well do it now.
Yeah. And you want that to be clean if for, some reason, I don't know, you're not supposed to take a bath. Although I was supposed to do like sitz baths in the tubs and my husband, anyway, it's so nice to have a clean bathroom because you're injured. You want a clean space.
Yeah. Well, we used our tub too for our baby. Like it was easier. So depending on the situation in your bathroom setup, like our bathroom and our bathtub was actually easier to fit in, baby tub than the nursery. So we ended up using our master bathtub for the baby at first.
Oh,
so
smart. Yeah.
That's something.
Yeah. And so just having it clean makes it so much better. Great early labor tip, everybody. Yeah. Get in there and scrub it out. All right. Anything else people could be like having on their radar?
So I organized our medicine cabinet before, and I also got a few things for the baby. So like infant Tylenol, Motrin, and children's Benadryl. Obviously, you're not giving those immediately when your baby comes home. You won't need them. But 3 a.m. When your infant's 2 months old is not a great time to realize you don't have infant's Tylenol. So I just I tell people to stock up on that. You might not need it for a few months. Hopefully you won't, and you use your doctor's discretion on that. But and even just the Benadryl, I had never thought about that. But having that on hand for when you start solids, in case there's an issue, like I just like to have that stuff on hand and available. So getting the medicine cabinet kind of restocked, and then anything like you can help like streamline or systemize in terms of offloading, like household chores. So if you want to make a how-to list on how to turn on the washer, how to load the laundry, anything like what you typically, how to organize the pantry, whatever it is, like when someone comes over and offers to help, it's so much easier to be able to hand them a list of like, I would love it if you threw in a load of laundry. This is how you do it, because you don't want to create more work for yourself by having to teach them how to go do the laundry. You want to be able to give people an opportunity to help you. And if they offer help, take them up on it. And setting that up beforehand is really helpful.
Oh, that's such a good idea, because I think a lot of times I'm like, what can I do? Can I throw in a load of laundry? And people just kind of like stare at me like, my washing machine's so confusing. You'd never get it to start or something like that. So I love that idea of just putting a little, because at first I was like, to tell your husband how to do the laundry, but now it makes more sense if you had a friend come over.
Right. Hopefully your husband is doing the laundry frequently. But yeah, if you have somebody else who offers, because I find even my mother, who's here all the time, will ask me, oh, well, how should I do this? Or how do you want this done? Because, they want to be your friends, and your in-laws and relatives want to be the most helpful to you in that moment. And if you have to actually get up and then teach them how to do something, it's less helpful to you. So
yes. Yeah, I love that. And I love the idea of just kind of streamlining all those different things, because you don't even know, like after the baby, like you could be stuck at the hospital or all those kind of different things. So what a great thing to have, if people are coming over to help. And also people want to help, like they really do. And so just thinking of things that people could come do, anything from like meal prep, or even just coming over and folding laundry with you so that you have like another human being to talk to, just think of those things as you're getting going, so that when somebody asks, you're not just like blank face, big eyes. I don't know.
Yeah, because let's be honest, you need help, right? Like you do need help with something. And so having to figure out even in that moment sometimes is hard. So having that list of, I typically do these things every week, even if it's like, I need to, dust the bedside table. I don't know. I'm, whatever you're comfortable asking for help with. But I think it's really helpful because the person asking does want to help you. They want to do something, but a lot of times they don't know what to do. So.
Yeah, this is awesome. I think people are going to be so much more prepared. And I think it's so important. Obviously, you also need to take a prenatal class, but luckily my class is pretty short. And you could also clean while listening to my class if you really wanted to, or fold laundry. I have to say, folding baby clothes was one of my favorite things to do before I had a baby. I have no idea. I do not fold clothes now. I'm not very good at it, but yeah.
They're so cute. I think it makes you happy.
Yeah. So get in there, get prepared so that life is easier after you have a baby. Also visit Carly on the Mama List. Anywhere else they can find you, Carly?
I'm also on Instagram, Pinterest, and Facebook, but yeah, the blog is the main place.
Yeah. And so great organizing tips from Carly. I hope you guys will visit her there as well. Thanks for coming on, Carly.
Thanks so much for having me.
I love this episode, you guys, because it's so easy to just think, I'm miserable right now, because you 100% are. I'm not saying that you're not, but you can do things easier right now than you can when you're hauling a tiny person around with you. For the most part, there are things that do get easier, like bending down and picking stuff up. Like that is easier, but you're also not supposed to pick stuff up that's super heavy after you have a baby. Anyway, getting prepared before you have a baby is so important, which is why I totally recommend my prenatal class, because when I went to go teach for my hospital, they again had like, everything's just sunshine and rainbows after you have a baby as their postpartum section. Like, here are a few pads and you'll do fine. And I was like, oh no. And I put in 2 new sections. And then when I made my own prenatal class, I, implemented those 2 sections, and people love how honest and real I am about what to expect after you have a baby. So check out the class, check out Carly on the Mama's List, and we'll see you next time. Stay tuned for next week's episode. If you've ever thought that your health insurance was too expensive, I'm going to show you a kind of an alternative. We're going to talk about how it all works. So stay tuned for next Monday's episode for sure. Thanks so much for joining us on today's episode. We know you have lots of options for your ears, and we are glad that you chose us. We drop episodes weekly, and until next time, we hope you have a tangle-free day.